Okay, so it turns out that they are always making things more and more difficult for us basement chemists. And so if you want to learn about chemistry, or, excuse me, if you want to learn about chemistry or try to do your own experiments, maybe make gunpowder, or do some other neat things, rocket fuel, you might need something like sulfur. And here's some sulfur, but let's look at the chemical list. They keep on trying to hide what the chemicals are, but they want to make you responsible for the stuff you buy from their stores. With a bunch of hypocrites. Anyway, this is only 30% sulfur. It's the best I could find at Home Depot. And then the other stuff is mystery ingredients. You're responsible for that, but they keep it a secret. They won't tell you what it is, what you're putting into your household, or putting into the lawn, or putting in the water. All these, environmentally conscious people allow the corporations to hide everything that they sell you, that you flush down the drains, whatever. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. So let's, one of the other videos I watched, it was an interesting video. They said that sulfur is insoluble in water, and all the other ingredients possibly are, so maybe we can purify the sulfur by taking some of it. So maybe we'll take some of the sulfur, and see if we can open this up. Okay. Take a look inside. It looks like a bunch of junk in there, a bunch of different types of junk. And, that stinks too. Let's take this sulfur and we'll pour some of it. Mystery, I should call it mystery stuff. Mystery stuff combined with sulfur. And we'll pour a bunch into our little container down here. And that kind of stinks, actually. Let's put a bunch of reverse osmosis water. Distilled water would probably work well as well. And we'll just try mixing it up. This really stinks, actually. And we'll let it set for a few days and then try to get the water off of it and see if we can purify the sulfur in this way. One of the videos I watched on YouTube said that you could. And so we'll see if we can purify this stuff, because this is actually a different brand. This has much less sulfur in it. I do believe it's only 30%, which is very disappointing. What is this called? Soil acidifier. Okay, so we'll see how this works. Maybe we'll try putting it in some gunpowder and see if we can add a little bit of power to our chemical reactions. Okay, anyway, I have some plastic crap silverware that I got from some fast food restaurants or something, and it seems like a good thing to stir this up. We want to try to dissolve the stuff we don't want as quickly as possible. Look at that. It's almost like a smoothie or something. Chocolate shake. Would not advise drinking this, though. It smells real bad. Okay. We'll stir that up good, and we might have to rinse it a few times. See if we can stir this up, and I'll let it settle until all the good stuff we want, the sulfur, will settle to the bottom, hopefully. And we'll decant off the stuff on the top and maybe try this a few times, see if we can purify the sulfur so we can get some good chemical reactions for our home chemistry experiments. Okay. Okay, so we let this sit for a while, and it looks like it's separated out a bunch of water-soluble stuff at the top and possibly a bunch of yellow stuff at the bottom. So let's try decanting that, and we'll try adding more water and rinsing it out some more and seeing what happens, okay? Try not to slosh it too much. Here we go. Pour off this coffee looking stuff. Let's see what we got left at the bottom. Supposedly the sulfur should be not water soluble. So maybe we can rinse that up. Looks like there's a bunch of stinky yellow stuff at the bottom. So let's try adding some more water to that and see if we can clean this up a little bit more and get some pure sulfur out of it. This really stinks. Wow. Okay. Okay, here we go. The second rinsing. Add a bunch more water to that so we can rinse it out and decant it. Okay. Okay, just make sure we get the bottom all stirred up. Stir the sludge off the bottom and get it all mixed up so we can get all the impurities out of that. We'll let that sit again for a couple days or a day or so, we'll see. And then do that until we eventually get clear water out of it, hopefully. So until we get all the impurities out, the water should be clear once that happens. We'll see. Okay, I've decanted it probably about 20 times, and it looks like it's starting to clear up here again, or finally. And if I look at the bottom, it looks like there's little yellow lumpy stuff, so that might be the sulfur. But there's a whole bunch of gray solid stuff above that. I'm not sure what that is. That might be junk that I have to get rid of. So let's decant some more and keep on filling her up. Okay. Get rid of some of that crap. We'll just stick some more water in there, I guess. And keep on doing this until we get something that looks like sulfur. Okay. Okay, so this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what all this... It looks like there might be some sulfur at the bottom, but there's a bunch of like silty stuff above it, and it doesn't seem to be dissolving in our water. So I'm not sure if this particular... I've done about 100 decants now, and I'm not sure if I'm ever going to really get a good separation of the sulfur with this process. I think the other guy on the YouTube probably had a different mixture of stuff that was better for getting sulfur out of it. I might go back to, this is the only thing that Home Depot had. Maybe I'll try going to Lowe's and see if Lowe's has anything better. This doesn't seem like it's got too much insoluble crap possibly mixed in with it to really get a good separation. Let's see. Okay, so I found the silt just won't dissolve, so I'm kind of almost decanting off this silty stuff, and it looks like possibly the sulfur is staying at the bottom. I see a bunch of lumpy stuff down there. So it's almost like a panning process for gold, where the lumpy stuff goes to the bottom and the silty stuff can be decanted off, but it's not going to be a very good separation, probably. I'll keep on doing this, but it would be better if this stuff was soluble, water soluble, but I don't know what the heck it is. I definitely see chunks of sulfur in the bottom, though. This silty gray stuff is not sulfur, I don't think. It's got that sulfur smell, so we'll keep on doing more separations. I've been stirring it up, and then that heavy chunks, the sulfur chunks, settle first, so they tend to be on the bottom. And that's doing some separation from this silty stuff. There's a bunch of junk in there, looks like rat turds or something, I don't know, black things that are also not soluble in water. So we'll try to get rid of some of this junk and see if we can purify the sulfur a little bit. Okay. Okay, I have a new strategy. It looks like a lot of this junk that's mixed in with the sulfur is not water soluble, like the one YouTube video that I saw talking about some stuff they found. And but it looks like it's very fine grained as opposed to the sulfur, which looks like it's big chunks. And so maybe if I run it through, this is a reusable coffee filter, maybe the silt will go through that and the chunks of sulfur will get stuck in this. And if not, I have a second plan, which I think is going to work better, so we'll look at that in a second. Okay, so here we are over our sink here, and I think I'll just take this stuff. It's been settling, and I've been trying to dredge it off like mining for gold or something. And let me just stir this whole thing up. Let's stir this up, and then that'll be easier to get the junk off the bottom. And here is our filter here. Let's just pour the junk right through the filter. Look at that. Is it clogging up? Oh my god, really? I think it's starting to clog up the filter, but I think that might... Oh, it stinks. I think I might see some yellow stuff in there. Okay. Let's take a look in there. Looks like there's some yellow stuff in the bottom. The filter's really clogged up already with all that crap and silt. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to look yellower. Let's just rinse this stuff through. I don't know if you can see that. Here, grab onto this in a better way. Pour it right through that filter. Get rid of all that garbage. It looks like a bunch of yellow stuff in the bottom of that. Just dump that right into the filter, I guess. Okay, we need to put some more water. Rinse this stuff down. Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, the filter's getting pretty clogged up, it looks like. Take a look in there. That silt stuff is... But if we look into this container, it's starting to look pretty yellow at the bottom. So... yeah. So it looks like it's separating out the sulfur, kind of. But I think I found a better way of doing it. If you can find a better source of sulfur, it's probably better to do it that way. Okay. Let me rinse this through a little bit more and see if we can separate it into this filter some more, and then I'll show you my second way of doing this. Okay, so let's turn on the water. I've been putting the water in there and kind of stirring this up some, almost like panning for gold, like I said. Like this. And look at that, it's starting to turn more yellow. It's looking pretty yellow on the bottom. There's some black crap. I gotta maybe pan off the top, it won't go through the filter. But the bottom looks all yellow. wash it through the filter. Looks like it's cleaning it up pretty well. Okay. So I think this might be one way of getting sulfur, but I found another source that's about 90% sulfur, so that's probably a better way to go. Okay. Okay, so here we go. I've been panning this stuff through the filter. And there's still some black crap I'm going to have to probably scoop out or something, but it's looking pretty yellow. It looks like it might be a good way to separate the sulfur from that other junk that was in there. So and that looks like it might be about 30%, which is what the box claimed. So here's a way to get sulfur from that, I think it was soil acidifier. Okay, I'm going to show you a better way to do it in a second, I think, though. Okay. Looks like that black crappy stuff. Yeah, I got sulfur's looking pretty yellow now. That black crappy stuff, it seems to be a lot less dense than the sulfur. And if you kind of get it spinning, put some water above it and get it spinning, it looks like it kind of separates up into the water, and you can probably quickly decant that off. Get rid of all that black stuff. If you do that a few times, you can clean up the sulfur so it looks pretty nice. Okay. And so we're going to look at our other method of making sulfur. Okay, I couldn't find this one at Home Depot, but I found this at Lowe's. It's called Sulfur Dust. And this is what I like about this one. It says it is 90% sulfur. Okay. And they use it for fungus, killing fungus and insects. Let's take a look at this. We might be able to use the technique if this has got water-soluble stuff to get rid of the remaining 10%, but I mean, if it's 90% pure, then that might be good enough for doing some experiments. Okay, so let's take a look and see what this stuff looks like. Okay, it looks like it's got some kind of squirt top, but it's all a powder in there. I don't know if you can see that. It looks like powdered sulfur as far as I can tell. It's all yellow. Look at that. Okay. So this might be good enough to use directly for making gunpowder or whatever. Might try cleaning it up a little bit, but this is 90% pure, as opposed to this other stuff, which I've been cleaning up, and it's still got some junk in it. Okay, well, we might be able to clean that up some more. I bought a big bag of it, so hopefully we'll find a use for it. So yeah, we might be able to use this directly. This is 90% pure sulfur. We'll try cleaning that up a little bit and see what happens. Okay, I guess it's probably worth trying to clean this up a little bit more, so let's just see if we can do as the other YouTube video suggested. If it's water soluble, then maybe I won't pour it all in there. See what kind of mess I'm going to make first. Oh, this is really powdery. I'm going to put RO water on it, a little bit more purified water than the drain water, because we're not panning for gold here. We want to clean this up good. Okay, so let me try putting some water on that and mixing it up, and we'll let that settle and see what comes out of it. Okay. Okay, here's our RO, reverse osmosis water machine. That's about as clean as the water gets. Okay. And we'll stir this up and see if we can get the impurities out of that. Okay, so it looks like it's doing some stuff. So let's try stirring that up. See if we can get the impurities out. The sulfur should be insoluble in water, and it should sink down to the bottom after we process this. Wow. So we'll let this sit for a while and see what comes of that. Okay. Okay, so this is the 90% sulfur, and it looks like we put some water on it, RO water, reverse osmosis water, And it looks like there is a water-soluble component that has been dissolved into the water, and the sulfur looks like it's at the bottom. So let's try to, I'm going to actually use my little filter thing here as I decant it. We'll decant it. You see that there? Pour it through the filter just to catch any sulfur that might be in there. Okay, and we'll decant that. Okay. And there we go. And there looks like a bunch of sulfur in there still. And yeah, there it's at the bottom. Let me try to put some more RO water in there, and we'll filter it again. Maybe I'll add a little bit more sulfur because I wasn't sure how this was going to work out, but looks like it's working out pretty good. Looks like we can probably clean up the sulfur and do this fairly quickly and get a nice product at the end. Okay. Anyway, we'll do this a few more times and rinse it some more. Okay, so the liquid layer on the top is starting to get more clear as we keep on rinsing it and decanting it. And so I think that, let's just put this down for a second. I've been trying to catch any sulfur that floats up on the top. Little oh, a lot of it's getting out. Anyway, so it's starting to look a lot clearer, and I guess we're getting out the water-soluble components, and hopefully we will pretty soon get perfectly clear water, and then we'll know that the sulfur is all cleaned up, and we can start using it for experiments. Should be interesting. Okay, so it looks like I've been decanting it for quite a while, and the water above the sulfur is getting quite a bit lighter now, so it looks like it's getting the water-soluble crap out of it. And, well, for some reason a lot of the sulfur likes to float on top. I noticed that with this finely divided sulfur, I was losing a lot through the steel mesh coffee filter, so I added a paper one in the inside, and that seems to be catching a lot of the sulfur so it doesn't go through. So I think we're getting pretty close, getting this cleaned up pretty well, and we'll be able to use this for some interesting experiments soon. Oops, paper filter collapsed. Okay, so there's our paper filter inside of other coffee filter. Just using the other one to hold it in place. Okay. And there we go. I just let it sit for a while because it kind of plugs up the paper filter, so it comes out very slowly. Okay, looks like it's working pretty good. This other stuff looks like it's getting cleaned up pretty nicely. Okay. Okay, well, I think the water is looking pretty clear now, except for maybe little particles of sulfur that are in it. I mean, before it was almost coffee colored, and so I think it's pretty clear. So we probably cleaned up the sulfur good enough, and maybe I'll try to start drying this stuff out and pour this through the coffee filter one more time, and then see if we can dry out the sulfur and maybe try to use it, make some gunpowder. Okay, so it looks like here's our final product. I don't know what to say. It's been taking a long time to dry out, but I've been pouring it off into little batches, trying to spread it out. Maybe if I had a big cookie sheet or something like that to put it on, it would dry quicker, because it's very finely divided sulfur here, and it took forever to dry. But anyway, let's see. Here we go. Lots of nice yellow sulfur to make some good energetic reactions and gunpowder with. So anyway, this is Dr. Janes, and thanks for watching.